Hey guys, MackTen here, and welcome to another episode of Don't Feed Noob. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the most underused items in Dota 2. I think that statement was grammatically correct. I don't mean the least purchased, I mean the most underused relative to their usefulness. Now, obviously, there's a lot of items that aren't used very much, and so I'm going to break this video down into two halves. The first section is going to be about support items, and the second section is going to be about the semi-carry, ganker, and hard carry items. So let's start with the support items with this section. So healing salve is used frequently, it's used a lot, but I wanted to point out that a healing salve, if used correctly, is actually more efficient than a tango. A common misconception, because the tango heals a grand total of 345 hit points if you use all three charges, and it costs 90. The healing salve heals 400 and costs 100. So the healing salve is a 10 gold difference for a 65 hit point difference. So the healing salve is actually more efficient, and it heals in 10 seconds as opposed to the tango, which would take 16 times 3, which would be 48 seconds. 48 seconds. So the healing salve is actually much more efficient. Everyone should always get one salve and one tango at the start of the game, unless you're worried that you won't be, unless you just can't afford it. But as long as you don't have to choose, getting a healing salve and a tango at the start is ideal, because tangos will heal if you get hit 2 or 3 times, and a salve can heal you if you just survived near death. Smoke of Deceit. Now this is a truly underused item. It makes everyone near you invisible and gives everyone near you a slight movement speed bonus. And what this lets you do is, now obviously you want to use this for ganking. However, it reveals you if you're within 1025 area of effect, or 1025 area around a enemy hero or tower. So what's the point? Why can't you gank? Well, the point of this is that it's not designed to have your entire team surround one hero and then pop out of being invisible and then immediately kill him. The reason that you use Smoke of Deceit is that this way you can pass by this and this area by yourself without having to worry about being seen by enemy wards. You're actually completely fine if you have that up, because unless they have a sentry ward, which is another 200 gold and only lasts for half as long as an observer ward, very unlikely that they warded with sentry wards. You know, you're not supposed to. You'll get by. You'll sneak by and you'll be able to set up a good gank. You'll be able to set up a good kill. So it's a support item, but it's only 100 gold. It's dirt cheap. It is extremely underused. I only ever use it when I'm in an arranged team, or pre-made as you guys call it. It's not something you ever see pubbers use, and it's an extremely, arguably game-breaking item in the same way wards are, because you can deny your enemies information about the location of your team and then pick and choose where you want to attack and kill them. You can set up engagements and ganks however you like with it. Now, the Town Portal Scroll, or the Scroll of Town Portal, for those of you familiar with the Warcraft 3 version, this is it's 135 gold, and quite frankly, it's the best 135 gold that you will spend all game. It is the best 135 gold you'll spend all game. Please, after the 5-minute mark, after you've got, let's say, just after 5 minutes, after a few minutes into the game, you should always be carrying a Scroll of Town Portal, or a Town Portal Scroll. You should always be carrying one of these. I personally carry 2 of these, and you should always have them with you unless you have Boots of Travel, which is a very rare circumstance. But I almost always, after 5 minutes, pretty much always have a Town Portal Scroll with me, because it's so useful. If you're trapped in the woods, you can escape a gank. If you see a team fight going wrong and you've got to run away, you can escape. It's one less kill the enemies have. It's invaluable. It's such a good item. I lost all my gold there. But it's an incredibly valuable item. It's incredibly important. Now the next item is Dust of Appearance. Dust of Appearance is commonly purchased by gankers, semi-carries, and carries later in the game, because they want to, let's say a Ricky. You don't want to set up a sentry ward to kill a Ricky, which will also reveal him, because if you don't have enough stun, if you don't have enough CC, the Ricky will get away, he'll be out of the range of the sentry ward, and he'll be invisible again. With the Dust of Appearance, it's 12 seconds that he cannot go invisible, and that's 12 seconds where you can chase him and kill him. So, underused, not entirely underused. The aspect of it that is underused, or the aspect of it that I'd like to address, is the fact that if you're going to use it, especially in a teamfight situation, you want your supports to buy it. You want your Shadow Shamans, your Witch Doctors, your Keeper of the Lights, you want them to buy the Dust of Appearance, because that way you're not sucking money away from the carries, the semi-carries, the gankers, the people that actually need farms, your 1-2s and your 3s. Animal Courier and Flying Courier, these items aren't typically underused, but then again, in most of my games, I'm the one that buys both of them because I typically play a support role or a 4 or 5 role, sometimes a 3. Either way, always, if you're the support, make sure your team has a courier. It's 370 gold. That will just it'll change your world, especially if you have a solo mid that relies on a bottle. If you have lanes that rely on bottles, then you need to get the Flying Courier as fast as possible. Next on the list is the Observer Ward. The Observer Ward is used a lot, but I would still consider it underused. It needs to be used more. You should be constantly buying these and putting them up. Now, I typically will save up Observer Wards for most of the game. I will save up 2 are in stock, and what I like to do is I like to buy 2 of them, which gives you 4 placeable wards, each lasting for 6 minutes, and I save 2 of those every single time. So at the end of the game, if I want to have 8 wards up so we have total map awareness for a 6-minute period, or let's say we want to take 12 minutes where we have 4 wards up the whole time, we can do that. We can gain a lot of map awareness by doing that. But all game long, ideally you want to have this spot. There are a lot of other places down here, but this is just a good spot to go for reference. That spot and this spot. You want to have wards on. It's easy. There's an eye. You just put the ward there, and it'll give you vision of the rune, and it'll give you vision of this river. So you can see where the enemy team is moving. You can see if they're coming to gank you, unless they have the smoke that I referenced earlier. And importantly, you can see when they're going to get Roche, which is a great time for you to set up your own gank. And last but not least, the actually two more: the Sentry Ward and the Bottle. Sentry Wards. I was saying earlier they're not so good at chasing down enemy heroes. What they are really good for is if you're laning against a let's say a bounty hunter or a broodmother, ideally the broodmother, perfect against the broodmother, then you want to have the sentry wards, because whenever the broodmother shows, whenever you're in the web, just throw down a sentry ward. If the broodmother doesn't spend money on her own detection because the sentry ward is invisible, the broodmother is just straight up screwed. The broodmother she's not going to be able to get the amount of farm that she normally has. If the broodmother's in the suicide lane, if she's the only person in the lane against you because you have a tri-lane or a jungler, and you have good sentry ward placement, the broodmother is absolutely screwed. She cannot get last hits. She has to play on the back foot. So, same goes for bounty hunter to a certain degree, but especially the broodmother. If you're against heroes, and Ricky after level 6, if you're against heroes that rely on invisibility, please get sentry wards for your lane, especially if you're the support. More importantly, if you're the support, but occasionally if you're a 1-2 or a 3, sometimes you have to buy sentry wards too, just because your support won't. The bottle, I don't think the bottle is really underused. I just think that the bottle is one more reason why you need to get the Flying Courier as soon as possible. So, that will be the end of the first section. Basically, I don't want to say all these items are underused, but specifically the Scroll of Town Portal, the Smoke of Deceit, and the Sentry Ward. Those are the 3 that I think a lot of people need to put more thought into, because Sentry Wards against heroes like the Broodmother, the Bounty Hunter, and Rikimaru, extremely good. The Trent Protector, really good. Dust of Appearance, extremely good at setting up ganks. Smoke of Deceit, extremely good at setting up ganks. So, Town Portal Scroll, I talked about this at length, is probably the most important item on this list. Always make sure you have one with you. So, I think that's it for the basic underused items. In the next section, we'll take a look at the underused carry, side carry, ganker items.